Hello, my fellow business owners. It's Margot Mastery, your heartfelt CFO, and I am so excited to be here and share with you this important presentation. Whether you were able to make it live or you're watching the replay, it is so important that you showed up, and we are so grateful for that. This group has been, just mute for a little while, and I'm sorry about that. Life got a little crazy. So I'm trying to get back into the game of, getting into the group and seeing what you guys are interested in. And today's workshop is going to teach you about the living balance sheet. Now, if you remember when we were having events, there was a lot of different things that we were doing. We were doing coffee and collaboration, and we were getting to know each other. And seeing a lot of you on LinkedIn and through social media, I thought that this was something important to share. As always, if you have something specific that you want, I would love for you to reach out to me and let me know as I'm getting the group more active. And each month we're going to do events, probably actually not April because of Passover, but stay tuned about that. I have to look at the calendar and figure that part out. So I'm going to introduce you to Deborah Baum, my close and dear friend, and she's going to present to you about the living balance sheet and the uncommon approach about the final decision making. Deborah, I am so excited that you're here. Thank you for taking the time to teach with us. How are you today?
Hey, perfect. Thank you, Margot. Thank you for the opportunity. This is wonderful. It's wonderful to be here and do some collaborative work with you. It's great fun. And
Amazing.
we'll learn something.
And to learn something. Yeah. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself before we jump into the program, what we have planned for today.
Oh, great. Thank you. I've been in the financial service business straight out of college. It was the first thing I wanted to do. I always fantasized about working on Wall Street because I thought there was some magical pot of gold or some magical secret, something on Wall Street that I wanted to access. And my first job actually was at Shearson Lehman Brothers, and they were bought up, and lots of things happened. And I was on Wall Street when it wasn't quite that common for women to be there. So it was fun. It was exciting. I learned a lot. And I went up through the ranks. And the whole thing is that when you start making money, you keep thinking life is going to change when you make more of it. And all that happened for me is I spent more. And what I learned is that as the resources expand, so does your ability to buy nice and beautiful things. And saving money and learning how money actually works was a different kind of skill. It was a skill that nobody really teaches you. Sometimes your mother always says to you, save something for a rainy day, but you never save enough because you don't know how long the rain is going to come for. So that's the most important thing to learn.
Very true. Very true. I found that in my career too, is that a lot of challenges with being a woman and then understanding money, but in your field from that different approach, I mean, I'm sure that you're going to have a lot more to share. So on that note, when you're ready,
Sure.
I'd love it. Okay. So feel free to. Awesome.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So what I wanted to talk about today was what we do, what I do, that's very different from what is in the marketplace today. We talk about in my practice, what we really talk about is the fundamentals of how to protect yourself and make sure that there's always a stream of income coming in, taking care of yourself and taking care of your family, no matter what happens, is the foundation of having a strong financial plan. And how do you protect yourself while you are accumulating wealth and you're growing a family and you're just an uncommon view, and it's refreshing and it's very different from what's out there in the marketplace today. Were you aware that there's a 10% club, that 10% of all money well, sorry, I'm going to say that a little differently. 10% of people control most of the money in the world. And we saw this really with COVID. And we saw that some of us were really struggling and some of us were on the edge, and that the people that were on the top 10% of society and top 10% of the CEOs and people who had money made a huge amount of more money during COVID. And they really understood how to move the pieces, because money is actually like playing chess. You move money from one category to another category, and 70% of us, 70% of us don't really understand how money works. And there are myths that we have in foundationally as it pertains to money. So some of the myths is that we only need to keep up with inflation. And inflation was historically only 2% for the last decade. And now all of a sudden, some major explosion has happened because of the events that are happening politically, and because of the world we live in. And inflation went from 2% to 6%, which means that the same dollar that you were using, your spending power is eroding. If you ever spoke to your grandpa or your grandmother and they said, do you remember when we used to get on the train for 2 cents and bread used to cost a nickel and milk used to cost 3 cents? What they're talking about is inflation. So what they earned was less too. And inflation impacts not only what we buy, but also what we earn. And in terms of our savings, we need to do more than just keep pace with inflation, because nobody has a crystal ball and nobody knows what inflation is going to be like. We also have this fundamental belief in regular financial planning. People have heard that you save money for retirement and your tax bracket will be lower in retirement. Again, there's no crystal ball, so nobody knows what the tax brackets will be when we get to retirement, whenever that is, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years for some. Another myth is that the 401k plan is a great way to save money. It could be spent or invested, but did you know your 401k money is taxed when it comes out? And the way to really grow to a comfortable, safe, secure financial place is to have different pockets of money. There's nothing wrong with 401k, but it's not the be all and end all of getting yourself to a comfortable, financial, secure retirement. You could read the other things. Compounding is a miracle. Not necessarily. That you don't need life insurance when you retire. I could show you different reasons why you might. A 15-year mortgage costs less than a 30-year mortgage. Now that really is very interesting. So if you actually do an analysis of a 15-year mortgage cost versus a 30-year mortgage cost, I can show you mathematically how a 30-year mortgage can come out cheaper for you by just making one extra payment a year towards principal. Divesting is the same as investing, and divesting means you get rid of assets that aren't working. So if part of your ship is sinking, you just cut off that part of the ship and let it sink, and you don't let it pull down the rest of your investments. The rate of return on my assets is more important than regular savings habits. Absolutely not true. Your ability or your willingness to save 3% a year, no matter what, will give you more money in the long run than any rate of return. And in the event you want to dig down on that, we could do that. And I could show that to you with graphs and different rates of return. And from the audience, you can throw out the rates of return that you would like to see, and we could do that. And here is just a different way to show the same principle, which is that linear math doesn't necessarily work. And linear math is traditional financial planning. A goal equals time times money times the rate of return. That's basically how a 401k works. Money is the amount you put into the 401k. Time is how long you have from your age when you start your 401k to when you're going to want to take it out. And rate of return is how much you earn on your 401k. So that's just an example. So that's regular financial planning. That's what we've been exposed to. What makes me different and what makes us different is something called optimum planning. What if there were none of these rules that really pertain and you decided to make a financial plan just based on the absolute best planning that you can do by recapturing some of the leaks in your financial system and saving the same amount of money that you've been saving, and just understanding the different places, like on a chessboard, to put your money? What if you could do optimum financial planning? And if you look here at the results of regular goal, time plus money times rate of return versus optimum planning, which is the purple arrow, you will see that you can actually get to a place of higher wealth with the same amount of savings, with just understanding the rules, understanding the same rules that the 10% of the people understand, those people who control most of the money. And here we go. There are threats. What are the threats that we have to our money? That's part of what I'm calling recapturing some of your lost money. There are lots of inefficiencies that we have when we save money. And it's part of what I didn't understand when I first started earning money. Inefficiencies are taxes. While they're mandatory, there are ways to mitigate taxes. And Margot will be the person we could throw that to, different ways to actually save on taxes that recapture back into your financial system. You know, debt is also a major, major, major drag on your ability to get ahead. And there's good debt, and then there's not good debt. And there's a philosophy that really thinks that all good debt is a drag on your financial system. So let's just talk about that for a minute. Credit card debt, while having stuff and accumulating stuff is really nice, it makes you feel good in a lot of capacities, in a lot of ways. Not paying your credit card debt every month drags down your ability to earn money, because the interest rate is massive, and it just drags you down. So it's really important not to use credit card debt as a way to finance a lifestyle. There's debt that is unavoidable, which is in college debt, which is student loans. Those are unavoidable, and there are strategies and ways to pay those down. They're all part of exploring what is available to you a little differently than ways you have looked at it before. Our process is, we look at you just like your business. It's very uncommon. We look at you with assets and liabilities, and then we take a look at where the drags are on your financial system. So you are a business. You're your own living ATM, if you think about it. Your kids, your parents, whoever it is you live with, they treat you like an ATM in some capacity. Mom, give me money. I need money. I need this. So we are our own ATM, and we really are a business in if you look at it that way, because we get up every morning and our job is to go out and earn money to do lots of different things. And It's our assets minus our liabilities. So every day there's a snapshot of what you're really worth. And when you're conscious, thank you, to what you have, you're really conscious to what you're earning, what you're spending, and how much you are really saving for yourself. So this is an analysis that we do, and we help you with a budget. And that means that you can open up your balance sheet whenever you want. And if you work with me, you're going to have to do this at least once a quarter. And you really take a look at where you are today and where you were 3 months ago and what's ahead. And the idea is to recapture right here under cash flow. We look at what you earn, what your insurance costs are, annual savings, your debt and tax costs, and what's left for lifestyle. And having a conversation without being conscious to what you're doing is really the first part of getting control of your financial future. Okay, so there's some rules that are important, but we all basically know what assets and liabilities are. The assets are what we have, the rate of return, minimal risk, avoid taxes, and liquidity. And taxes are something we all have to pay. It's just a given. But there are certain strategies that people that they're in the universe that mitigate taxes that we mentioned before. They could be 401k plans, they could be IRAs, they could be just getting your Schedule C in order, cash flow, budgeting, lowering your debt, improve your savings, minimizing the protection. And that means taking a look at your insurance costs and making sure that you have what you think you have and you're paying for something that might give you back not only give you back your cash, give you back your money, and also give you the protection that you need. And our results when we work with you is we have a wide angle view. We lower your risk. We think about unexpected life events because those are the things that can really take us off the track, detract us from our goals. And we look at efficiencies in your financial system and we try to recapture them. So unexpected life events are really the things that we don't know. And that's what optimum planning is all about. To put your financial house in order in a situation that would work no matter what happens. If you live, if you die, if you become disabled, you protect yourself. You protect yourself as an ATM machine and you protect your family. And okay, this is just an example if we wanted to go through some numbers. But you might glaze over if we go through some numbers. So if we had anybody from the audience that wanted to dig down into an example, we could do that. But let's just go to what you get out of working with us. You get a Venn diagram, complete confidentiality, no increase on your out-of-pocket expenses, and you will have more money ultimately than you would have without working with us. And this is how to get in touch with me. And in the event you want to have a joint meeting with Margot and myself, we can go over specifically your situation. And I could show you how this works for you, how it would benefit you, and what this is all about. Thank you, Margot. Back to you.
You're so welcome. So I actually wrote down here a bunch of like highlights that stuck out to me. I'm going to start with the last one I wrote down, which was protect yourself as an ATM machine. So jamming powerful, because as a CFO, what I see there is that people and business owners, they take out a lot of money and they don't know how to filter out of that. They don't know how to act out of that. So if my business owners that I work with, or my following, my fellow, LinkedIn group as well, can protect themselves, I mean, like, what better than that? Another thing, like you said, is you said for optimum planning. Now, you have to realize the diamonds that were set into this. Deborah, if you can go back to slide 9. Yeah. So let's look at the green box first, the cash flow. Cash flow, the famous sentence is cash flow is king. Minimize protection costs, improve savings, lower debt and taxes. Now, the exit line, the entrance line to me is always, how do you reduce taxes, Margot? How do you reduce taxes, Margot? They don't want to change their lifestyles. So if you can be able to accomplish this and own your business and have peace of mind, I mean, that is just amazing. Because then if you look at the liabilities, where most business owners don't spend enough attention of mortgage selection, eliminating debt, and avoiding taxes, this is just so jamming powerful. Because what you said, Deb, about the 15-year versus the 30. So let's say, and again, as my CFO brain works here, is let's say your mortgage is $4,000 a month. Okay, so if you take 12 into 4,000 a month, she's saying to make one extra payment. So what does that come out to? Let's say $350 a month to be able, if my math is right, to be able to make one extra payment. If you realize where to pull $350 a month to save 15 years on your mortgage, I mean, you can walk around and say I'm mortgage free. I mean, like, when people say that to me, my insides like shiver, because I'm like, how the fudge jamming did they get that? And then now where she's saying you put yourself on a 15 and then you think about one extra payment, I could come up with 350 extra bucks. I mean,
That's right. And most people don't see the mathematical analysis of the 15-year versus the 30-year, because again, you never know what's ahead in life, but you have the ability to make a small extra payment monthly towards principal to get you to the same exact place without huge amounts of stress. If you miss a month,
that's where you, right. That's where you went to, if you can go back to slide 7, where you said,
the inefficiencies, the threats to your money.
right.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
No, I know that this is part of how you help your clients. And
this is the integration of why I brought Deb, whoever's listening to this live replay, and all the in between, because, the real cost of living, the products and strategies, the financial disorganization, I mean, money locked up. Let's just take one of this. People don't realize when they lock up their money in assets, let's say, that are non-liquidable, and then something happens. I'm going to give you a quick story just to close this, is that, just tie this in together, is, right now, my sisters and I are in a situation where we're taking care of my mom. And good, bad, evil, all the in between of planning, not planning. If I had something like this where they could have had in their times, things for my parents would be a lot easier. However, it's not the situation of what we're in, but that's why I'm bringing this to you, and I want to build the awareness, because when you have this forever, the tools and the skills. So on that note, I thank you, Deb. This was better than I expected. Not that I expected less, but like, I'm blown away by the information. And I have more things here, but I want to close this a little bit up, because or else when it gets too long, people gotta, get jamming. So we're going to send out the replay, assuming that you have this already. And, with this, we'll put Deborah's email information so that you can talk to her. And we're going to keep you posted about other events. So if you did watch the replay, please just hit respond and let us know what you liked, that you watched it, what you would like to see, and feedback. I thank you all, and we
Thank
will
you for
talk to
this
you soon.
opportunity.
And Deb, do you want to say anything else before I close the recording?
Just thank you. Just thank you, Margot. And thank you for introducing me to your people.
You're so welcome. Bye, everyone. Talk soon.